It's time for Media Watch. James Creedon is here. James, we've got Les Andinado.
We haven't heard of from them in a while, Mark.
Los Andinados. They're talking. Is it the Occupy Wall Street thing?
It's kind of, Spain.
It's all of them.
That's exactly it. Spain, the US, people, kind of a revolution, a whiff of revolution in the air. And I suppose what they're saying here, this is an interesting piece in Libération today, Mark. They're saying, why haven't we seen the French Andinados kind of rising up in the way that they have in Spain, in the way that we've seen, unrest?
It's a good point, because the
elsewhere
French
around
do
the world.
like to moan, don't they?
I mean, I suppose they're well known for being revolutionaries historically. We've seen a lot of unrest in Greece and Spain and elsewhere in Europe earlier this year, and then they were talking about the Arab Spring, and then I suppose partly the European Spring, and then the Occupy Wall Street movement was more in the autumn. So they did try in France to have something resembling a movement similar to the Les Andinados and it's been going for about 6 months, but it never really gathered steam like the pictures we see here in that was Puerto del Sol in Madrid. Now, this piece is basically trying to explain why. They're saying, look, all right, they have been gathering for the last 6 months, but basically living conditions in France are simply better, really, for young people in particular than in Spain. Youth unemployment in Spain, it's up to about 45%. That's only the case in France in poorer neighbourhoods. If you look at Greece then, where there was also a lot of unrest, they've been hit by austerity plan after austerity plan after austerity plan. Graduates in France usually do get work, they're pointing out in this article. It might take a while, but they do find work eventually. Not really the case in Spain. Then if you compare with the US, they're pointing, this is their reading of things anyway in Libération, they're saying it's just a more brutal system. I suppose there isn't the same social safety net for the poor. And also they have a very clear target in the New York demonstrations, that is the financial system. So basically what they're saying here really is that France has it a bit better. There isn't the same, there is a social safety net, and also kind of this anti-establishment rhetoric that you were getting in Spain and that you were getting in New York. Well, actually, there's very well-established far-left parties in France that sort of cater for those sort of ideas. So it's organised better. It doesn't necessarily end up being on the streets. The final reason, and this I think is a big part of it, there's a presidential election next year, and I think a lot of people feel if they're frustrated, let's focus our energies on getting the left into power as opposed to gathering on some square in Paris. That's if the left don't sort of do themselves in with the primaries they're having where they're insulting each other all the time. This is it. It could still happen. But just very quickly to show, on Twitter there were efforts some 6 months ago under the hashtag French Revolution. There was this whole wave of hashtags, French Revolution, Spanish Revolution, all of that. But it never really took off, and you can still see people are still posting things. There's this little flyer here to meet up in Toulouse at 7 p.m. They're trying to get people to meet up and gather and show their anger, but it hasn't really taken off. We should go. I'd love to go to Toulouse for 7 p.m. Well, it's great. The thing is, there's only about 200 people meeting, so it's probably very festive as opposed to the Capitol in the middle. That's fantastic. Great place to go. Red tiles and all that kind of stuff. American primaries versus French primaries. The Yanks laugh at what the French are doing, don't they? Because they think it's old-fashioned, given theirs has evolved and become a full-scale boxing match. And it's nastier, isn't it? And they're pointing this out as well in Libération. I've been reading only Libération today, we can see. But anyway, they have this piece here. Why the Socialist Party primary is less trashy than the Democratic primary. So the Democratic primary. That word trash. Plus trash. Well, basically, they're saying this is chicken feed compared to the stuff that happened between Hillary Clinton and Obama back in 2008. One of Obama's closest collaborators called Hillary Clinton a monster. She had to stand down over that. Hillary Clinton was digging the dirt about his relations with Reverend Jeremiah Wright, who was seen as a bit of a controversial. So there was a lot of digging of the dirt. Apparently, Bill Clinton, this is allegedly something that he said to Teddy Kennedy, which was written down in a book. He said a couple of years back, this guy would have been serving us coffee about Obama. Now, that's probably more reference. Yeah, you see, it could be misinterpreted as racist. Everything's in the interpretation and the context, isn't it? Exactly. But I suppose the French Socialist primary, it's been a lot milder than that. There has been a certain amount of mudslinging, but really nothing is serious at that. Quick comment on Blackberries. Blackberries, well, they're back up and running, and you see there was an apology today. Mike Lazaridis, he had to apologise for all of the chaos. Lots of people commenting on it online as well. Carla, perhaps she's already given birth, and the reason we don't know is she was trying to tell everyone by BlackBerry Messenger, people joking about it. Someone else here, this was trending under Dear BlackBerry. I am learning to do without you. It's not as bad as I thought. Regards, recovering addict. Lots of other stuff about that online as well. Not time to show it all. I've had no problems with mine because I think I dropped it on the floor 3 days ago and it broke into bits, and then I put it back together and it's been okay. So maybe I missed it all. Maybe that's the solution. James Creedon, as ever, with Media Watch. Cheers, Mark.
Stay with us. Coming up next, we've got all the news, of course, as well as sport. Wayne Rooney, banned for 3 international games after seeing red against Montenegro. Oh dear. Stay with us.